Hello students, welcome to Learner's Planet. So students, this is our third theory session for the topic acids, bases and salts. In the previous sessions we have discussed about the general properties of acids and also about their uses. In this session we are going to study about the bases, the general properties and also some of their uses, and also about the basic substances. And in our coming sessions we'll be discussing about the salts also. So let's start with the bases or the basic substances. So before discussing bases, let's first study about basic substances. We have studied about acidic substances. What are they? The substances which contain acids. It's simple. Like lemon juice, like vinegar, like orange juice, they all have acids. So these are the substances which you know, right? Or which you consume. So they are called as acidic substances. Now there are substances which contain bases also. So these substances are called as basic substances. So basic substances are those which contain bases. Some examples of bases are sodium hydroxide, potassium hydroxide, calcium hydroxide, magnesium hydroxide. Right? So these are some of the examples of basic substances. Sodium hydroxide, sodium and hydroxide, potassium hydroxide, calcium hydroxide, magnesium hydroxide. Now the substances which contain these bases, there are many bases, students. These are just a few of them. So the substances which contain bases are called as what? Basic substances. And what is their taste? They are bitter in taste. Acids are sour in taste. Right? So we'll be studying about these basic substances in this session. Now, bases also occur in plant and animal products such as corn starch, fresh egg white. So they contain some amount of base also. So you can find bases in plants and animal products. Right? So bases are present where? They can be found in the plant and animal products. Bases may have a strong irritating odor and should be used with caution as it can harm the skin and eyes. So bases have, it's not may, it's have actually. Bases have a strong irritating odor and be careful, students. It should be used with caution. You should be very careful while using acids and bases. Right? Like baking powder, it contains base. So it's not a very strong base, it's a weak base. But still it should not come in contact with your eyes. Right? Now let's study about the properties of bases. Some of the characteristic properties of bases are: bases are bitter in taste. See, a bitter taste is the characteristic of all bases. It's unanimous. All the bases are bitter in taste. Solutions of bases are soapy to touch. Soapy means it's slippery to touch. If we rub a drop or two of solution of detergents or baking soda between our fingers, we feel slippery. Now that is because it's the nature of bases. A strong base is still corrosive, students. A strong base like sodium hydroxide is corrosive. See, here I told you, bases may or may not be soluble in water. Bases that can be dissolved in water are called as alkalis. Bases which dissolve in water, they are called as alkalis. A baking powder, that of course contains a base. Some examples of soluble bases or alkalis are sodium hydroxide. What is the formula? NaOH. Potassium hydroxide, what is the formula? KOH. And calcium hydroxide, its formula is CaOH whole twice. Now these are the bases which are soluble in water. Right? So they are called as what? They are called as alkali. So bases which are soluble in water are called alkali. Fine? So do remember these bases: sodium hydroxide, potassium hydroxide and calcium hydroxide. Do remember these, students. These are the soluble bases. Right? Now, acids are what? Acids are weak as well as strong. So like acids, bases can also be strong or weak. Strong bases are very corrosive and can burn the skin. So if at all a strong base, if at all the skin comes in contact with a strong base, like sodium hydroxide, like potassium hydroxide, the skin of that particular area will get burnt. Right? Now these bases should be handled carefully. Every time I'm telling you, it should be handled carefully. It's better you should not touch a strong base or a strong acid. Caustic soda or sodium hydroxide or caustic potash or potassium hydroxide are strong and corrosive bases. This caustic is used. Caustic means it just burns the skin over there and leaves a mark. Right? That is called as caustic. Caustic soda and caustic potash. These are very, very strong bases. Remember, I told you in soaps, their salts are present. Salt of sodium and potassium are present. Right? Which when dissolved with water, it gives sodium hydroxide or potassium hydroxide. Okay? So salts of potassium and sodium are present in soaps. Right? Not the sodium and potassium hydroxide. Right? Now there are bases like copper hydroxide, zinc hydroxide, ammonium hydroxide, which are weak bases. They are not corrosive. Okay? So the bases like copper hydroxide, zinc hydroxide, ammonium hydroxide, they are not the strong bases or corrosive in nature. They are weak bases. Now students, do you know there are acids as well as bases present in our body? Acid, that is hydrochloric acid, is present in our stomach. Right? Which causes acidity. Say if you have not eaten for a long time, this acid, what it does? Acid helps in digestion of food. This particular acid aids or helps in digestion of food. So whatever is the time of your lunch or dinner or breakfast or brunch, whatever it is secreted in large amounts in the stomach. And if you're not eating at that particular time, the level of HCl rises in the stomach, which harms the stomach lining. Getting my point? This HCl is the acid which is present in stomach. It helps in digestion of food. So at the time of your lunch or breakfast or any other time of your meal, Whenever you take your meal, HCl is secreted in the stomach. Right? The mind sends the signal, okay, it's the time when a boy or a girl or any person is about to eat. So secrete HCl so that whatever he or she is eating, it's getting digested. And what happens if at all you skip meals? Then, if at all you skip a meal, then what will happen? There will be large amount of acid in the stomach. Now that acid will harm the lining of stomach. And you start feeling uncomfortable. Right? So at that time, you're advised to take some antacid. Or if at all you eat spicy food, fried food like samosas, kachoris and pakoras and lots of things. If you're eating like that, then also they are acidic foods. They produce lots of acid in the stomach. So the food which produces acid in the stomach or which increases the production of acid in the stomach are called as acidic foods. And all the fried foods fall in that category. Right? So that increases the acid level in the stomach and that is the cause of the discomfort. Okay? And another thing, the base. Base is present in mouth. See, whenever you have eaten something, like say whenever you have eaten a chocolate or anything you have eaten, what happens? The saliva, it slightly becomes acidic. Now if it's acid, it will dissolve the tooth. Okay, it reacts with the tooth. See how it goes. You have eaten something, say for example, I can take a chocolate. Or any sort of food item. Due to this, what happens? The saliva becomes acidic. Now, the acid present in saliva what it does? Attacks tooth. Again, tooth is made up of some chemical. Right? So saliva dissolves the chemical present in the tooth of what it is made up of. Okay. So that leads to what? That leads to tooth decay. Right? So that is why doctors advise you that after a meal or after eating chocolate, just wash your mouth properly. Brush your teeth before going to sleep. This is because tooth will be attacked by the acid. That particular portion, say if this is your teeth, then what happens? This will be attacked by the acid. A small portion of it will get dissolved in acid of the mouth or of the saliva. Right? How this acid has been created? Because you have eaten something that forms acid. Right? That produces acid. And in that dissolved portion of the tooth, what happens? Microorganisms grow. Bacteria grows and it further decays the tooth. So it's better to brush teeth properly and wash mouth after every meal properly. It's not that you're brushing the whole day. It's not that. Brush in the morning and before going to sleep at night, and in between, whenever you eat something, just wash your mouth properly. Okay? So saliva is basic in nature. Fine. So acids and bases are present in our body. In the intestine also, there is a basic medium. Right? In the small intestine, bases are present. So these acids and bases are present in our body. Right? So this is all about bases, students. Bases are bitter in taste and they are slippery to touch. Bases can be the weak base or a strong base. A strong base is corrosive in nature, whereas weak base is not. Fine? So, the uses of bases. We have studied about strong base, weak base, the types of bases, the characteristic properties of bases. Now, let's study about the uses. See, everything has got one or the other use. First is the calcium hydroxide, or it is also called as slake lime. Right? It is also present in lime water. So, it is used to neutralize the acidity in soil. See, if the soil has become acidic, lots of acids are there in the soil, then will the plant survive? No. Acids will again, they will destroy the roots of the plants. Right? Who will destroy? The acids. So what happens then? The base like this calcium hydroxide is added, and this calcium hydroxide reacts with, say, if any acid is present, that is HCl, we can take for example hydrochloric acid or nitric acid, which comes with the acid rain, right? Or any other acid if it is present. Then what will happen? This forms calcium chloride and water. Right? It forms a salt and water. Now this salt is neither acidic nor basic. It is neutral. So, slake lime or calcium hydroxide is used for what? Is used to reduce the acidity in the soil. From where this acidity has come, or from where these acids have come? These have come by rainwater or by organic wastes. Organic wastes, right? It is a component of border mixture used for protecting crops from pests. So it's a border mixture which is used for protecting crops. Now, there also the main component is calcium hydroxide. Right? So this is one of the bases. It is used in the preparation of dry mixes for painting and decorating also. It is an ingredient in whitewash and mortar. So this is the use of what we were studying, calcium hydroxide. I'm sorry. So this is the use of calcium hydroxide. Then there is another base, that is magnesium hydroxide. This is also called as milk of magnesia. Okay, and it is used as an antacid or a laxative. So this is used as an antacid basically. Magnesium hydroxide is used as an antacid. The prime use of this magnesium hydroxide is as an antacid. Right? It helps to reduce excess acidity in the stomach. This is the main component of the antacids which are consumed. Right? There's another base, that is sodium hydroxide. You can't use sodium hydroxide as an antacid. Why? Why? Because sodium hydroxide is a very, very strong base. Okay? So, It will neutralize, but it will burn the stomach lining also. So, magnesium hydroxide or milk of magnesia is used as an antacid, and there is another base, that is sodium hydroxide. Antacid, that is anti-acid. This base, sodium hydroxide, it is used in the manufacture of paper, textiles, detergents and soaps. So it is used in their manufacturing. Okay, soap is the salt of a base. Fine. So sodium hydroxide is used in the manufacture of paper, textiles and detergents. In homes, it is occasionally used to unblock drains. You must be knowing Drain-X. It is used in our homes to just unblock the drains. Drain-X is a powerful mineral acid compound specifically formulated to clear blockages in drains caused by organic substances. Right? So this Drain-X is used in our homes to clear the drains, and it also contains the base. Right? So Drain-X is composed of what? A base. Drain-X is a powerful basic compound specifically formulated to clear blockages in the drains caused by organic substances. Right? Organic substances produce lots of acids. So for that, this Drain-X is used, and it reacts with the acids produced by organic substances and dissolves them. Fine? Ammonium hydroxide and other weak bases. Weak bases such as ammonia in dilute form are used as household cleaners. Solution of ammonia with water is used as fertilizer. So ammonium hydroxide, that is the solution of ammonia in water, is used as what? As the cleaner. And ammonia in water in dilute form means less of ammonia and more of water, is also used as fertilizer. Right? So these are all the uses of bases. There are many other bases like aluminium hydroxide, like lithium hydroxide. These are also the bases. Say aluminium hydroxide is used as a foaming agent in fire extinguishers. So what is the use of aluminium hydroxide? Sorry, I'm writing this spelling wrong. Aluminium hydroxide. Why it is used? It is used as a foaming agent in fire extinguishers. Right? This lithium hydroxide, it is used by astronauts in spaceships to neutralize dangerous levels of carbon dioxide. Remember, lithium hydroxide, LiOH. It's lithium hydroxide. It is used by whom? By the astronauts to neutralize the high levels of carbon dioxide. Okay, so these are the bases, and these are the uses of some of the bases. Fine, students? So this is all about the bases, and in the next session we'll be studying about the indicators. What are they? There are acids, there are bases. Now there should be something to tell us whether this is an acid and this is a base, because every time you are not going to taste it. You can't taste ammonium hydroxide. Likewise, you can't taste sodium hydroxide or hydrochloric acid or sulfuric acid. You can't taste them. So there should be something which is going to tell you by that this is an acid and this is a base. So they are indicators. They tell us that which one is acid or base by just the color change or change in color. So we'll be studying about indicators in our next session. So I hope you have enjoyed this session, students. Just go through your text and you'll be through with this topic. Thank you, students, for listening patiently, and do have a nice time ahead.